Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Today we have Charity Rose, who is an engineering geologist at AtkinsRéalis and a member of Boulders Brass, an organisation that campaigns for equality on construction sites. Thanks for coming on, Charity. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Before we go into the main topic, can you just delve deeper into who you are and what you do?
So, my name is Charity, and as you mentioned, I work as an engineering geologist. So, part of my role is to understand ground conditions and how they would impact infrastructure projects. So, things like railway lines or buildings, and sort of give an assessment of the ground conditions and make a ground model as part of that. So, my role, I work for AtkinsRéalis, which is engineering consultancy. So, I split my time between on site and also in the office, which gives me sort of a good perspective from both sides of the coin.
Okay, cool. So you take samples, send them off for testing, that sort of stuff?
Yes, so we do lots of ground investigation, which is where
Yeah.
we quite literally try and dig up part portions of the ground. So either from things like boreholes or from trial pits, and sometimes some in situ testing as well, sort of help give us a comprehensive understanding of what's underneath our feet.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. So what got you into the path of this then and geology?
So, geology for me was all of my favourite subjects at school combined. So, little bits of chemistry, geography, and I was really into French and maths as well. So, for me, that geology was I sort of found my way into geology. I actually went to the open day at Birmingham University, and the talk for geology was actually before the geography one, and I'm really early. So me and my mum were sat there, and we heard the geology talk, and then we were going to stay for the geography talk, but I actually decided that geology sounded far more up my street, so I decided to look into that for a little bit. I had a gap year where I worked at a youth retreat centre, which was fantastic, and then I decided that actually yes, geology was for me. So I went on to go and do that at university in Liverpool.
Okay, so you were sold on that and the rest is history. No
Yes,
regrets?
no regrets. No, I feel really privileged to have a job that I enjoy and one that actually relates to my degree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's rare, isn't it? Because often, well, one, often people don't have jobs that they really enjoy. And two, a lot of people who go to uni don't actually do the jobs that they go to uni for.
Yes.
Yeah. So what about Boulders Brass? Who's Boulders Brass?
So Boulders Brass is a tribe, and it was created by the fantastic Catherine Evans to sort of bring people and women together who work in heavy industries. So things like mining, quarrying, geology, construction. Everyone is welcome, and I think it's kind of more than a network on LinkedIn. I think it's very much a sort of supportive, almost sisterhood of women and allies who are looking to give and receive wisdom from each other. The network itself has won an award, and it's actually really good at promoting intersectionality for our own members' needs, but also for other people as well. We run lots of campaigns to try and really improve the industry and to make it more inclusive for everyone.
Okay, so you are the voice for women in the industry, really.
Yes. So, and I think and what we want to be is sort of that network of support so
Yeah.
people can come. And I think, especially if you work for a small company where there aren't many women at all, it's a really good way to meet other people who might be experiencing similar issues to yourself or similar problems. And sometimes it's really nice to sort of see people that you can see yourself in. And I think I've met people sort of virtually, and I think actually it's a fantastic way of being able to see understand how problems can be solved, and to also have those fantastic role models as well of people who are maybe been there before and done it, got the t-shirt and
Sure, sure. So when you say community, um can people do they have to be like a member, become a member of Boulders Brass, or it is just like a network of people that just chat amongst each other and discuss ideas and stuff like that? Is it like an enrollment or anything?
yeah. So I think if all you need to do is go onto LinkedIn and join
Yeah.
the LinkedIn group. So
Okay.
we have two groups. We've got one for allies, and then we've got the actual Boulders Brass women's group as well. So literally just go on LinkedIn, click join, and then someone should be able to let you in. And I think I'd also really encourage people to join the allies group as well, because that's where we post a lot of our sort of solutions, and we speak a lot about the problems that we're encountering, so that people have an opportunity to understand where we're coming from and what women need on construction sites.
Yeah, I must admit, it, I mean, I've got a wife and a daughter, so because because we're talking about on-site menstrual safety, I have thought in the past about how women deal with this issue on site when they've got periods and stuff. But I never really realised that the actual scale of the issue. Um, when did you realise that there is an actual big issue and that you wanted to get involved with it?
So I first had a problem with menstrual health on construction sites when I undertook a full-time site secondment. So I'd gone from sort of being in a nice office to working quite ad hoc on sites. So it wasn't really until I was on site for a sort of a longer period of time, I was able to sort of experience problems around site welfare conditions. So what sort of from my experience, I was working on a site which had construction, no, sanitary disposal facilities in sort of the main compound, but not outside in the working areas, which was where I spent the majority of my time. So what I'd have to do is I'd have to drive back to the main compound or go off site and find somewhere else. Um, which is obviously taking time out of my working day, and my
Yeah,
focus was sort of
yeah,
not going elsewhere. Yeah.
sure, sure, sure. Yeah. So, what else are you seeing on site when you're visiting that could be an issue?
And so like in terms of issues for women and women's health.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
women's health, welfare, HSE requirements, are they being met? That sort of stuff.
So I think from where I was, because I started a campaign to try and improve things a couple of years ago, and I think things have really improved.
Right.
So that's really good. But I think in terms of things like PPE and giving women access to those resources, I think that still has got a bit of work to do. Um, so I think definitely sort of making it accessible and making it more wide and known that sanitary disposal facilities are a legal requirement is definitely sort of there's still work to do in that space.
Yeah. Um, yeah, one thing I noticed a long time ago, actually, particularly in the welfare facilities, is I think this is something that you advocate for, actually, is the ladies' toilets. They have to get a key to go to the toilet, which I always found a bit strange. So sometimes when I need to go to the toilet, I need to go to the toilet. Like, I can't hold it in. I'm at that age now, 45. So I just find it weird that you have to go looking for someone who's got a key and then go to the. Surely there's better ways. So why not use digilocks or a card or a scanny card or something like that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think, as you said, that is something that is quite common on construction sites, having a locked women's toilet. And I think
Yeah,
10 times out of 10, most people and site managers think they're doing the right thing by giving women sort of access to that safe space, which is just for them. But actually, I think the issue runs deeper, and you have to think having a locked toilet, especially one with a key where you have to go and ask for it, it just isn't helpful. And it sort of creates that almost power dynamic. And I think ultimately it makes the toilets inaccessible to people when they might need them. Um,
yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, have you experienced this yourself, like this sort of problem?
Yes. So I have worked on sites where toilets have been locked. And
Yeah,
I'll be honest, it's the first thing I raise in the induction. If
yeah,
the site manager says, I've got the key in my drawer, I'll say, well, please can we take it out? Because it's not helpful for anyone. And I think a lot of people, they don't like being confrontational, and they don't
yeah,
want to. So talking about toilets and periods and menstruation, it can be quite difficult
yeah,
for everyone involved. But I think actually being open and honest and saying, that method doesn't work for me, or I don't think that's the best way to do this. I think once you try and explain to people the reason why you need the toilet unlocked, most of the time they'll completely switch
yeah,
and find an alternative. As you said, like the little locked code boxes right next to
yeah,
the toilet work really well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure, sure. So, when you get in the toilet, are all the toilets now? Do they all provide the sanitary bins that you know of?
They definitely should do.
But do that. Have you been in any that haven't provided them?
Yes, I have. And again, I think it's now quite an easy conversation to have with the site manager to say, just to make you aware, the women's toilets don't have a sanitary disposal bin. Please, can you fit one in?
Yeah,
And I think at the time of me, attitudes have really sort of improved. And I think now that it's part of like a legal requirement, that it's really clear, men are really happy to put one in, and they'll say, "Oh, really sorry, just an oversight, completely forgot. I'll
yeah.
have one in with the next order." And I think really hope people feel empowered, both men and women, to sort of to ask them to be put in, if they're not present.
Sure. What about, I mean, are they providing sanitary towels and tampons and things like that? Is that freely provided?
Not routinely. I think
No.
there are some companies like Soil Engineering who provide them in their toilets, but I'd say most companies don't provide them free of charge.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I mean, you're out on site, right? You're not gonna be carrying your handbag. I
No.
mean, your pockets are probably filled with notepads, tape measures, testing kits, sample kits, whatever it is that you need. You're not likely to be walking around with tampons or towels and stuff in your pocket, are you? Particularly in the summer when you're limited on pocket space. So you really you do need stuff that's accessible for you quickly, don't you?
It definitely really helps. I think it takes away one less thing to think about. And
Yeah.
and as you said, I think I always see women carrying massive rucksacks with them when they go out. And I think you sort of have to make that adjustment yourself. And that's something you have to think about. And I think it's a really great example of companies going beyond the legal requirement just to try and make their facilities more accessible. And I think if we've got any listeners that want to try and provide free products, I think it'd be great if they explored that as an option.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But what about the different types? I mean, I'm no expert, but I've had to buy things for my daughter and in the past for my wife when she had periods. I know that they had their specific needs or their preferences. What do we do about that?
Yeah, so you can provide a variety of products. So I
Right.
think the companies that I've seen do it really well will provide sort of maybe two pads, so one for heavy flow and
Yeah.
one for lighter flow. And the same with tampons, you can get heavy flow and lighter flow tampons as well, which work really well. And that would be sort of really a nice thing to provide for women. And you can always ask women, if you're if you're a site manager and you say, look, I want to do this, what do you think? Sort of say there's no such thing as a stupid question, and sort of say like what kind of products would be good for you, would be good, um, or and like try and implement them that way. And there are companies set up that have sort of subscription services which just sort of provide the sort of the basic items. Um, if does
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it must cause somewhat of an anxiety issue in some women when it is that time and they know they're going to a site and there's going to be issues. It must always be in the mind. And what do you do? What do you do if there aren't facilities and there aren't the resources there? What is it that you do?
So, yes, I think in terms of it can cause a great deal of anxiety. So I think a lot of the people that I spoke to, they would really worry about it. And because if you bleed through your PPE, a lot of PPE is orange or yellow, so it's
Yeah,
really obvious if if it goes through. So if you get to a site and there aren't the facilities, um, have like an initial panic, but don't do that. You can speak to the site manager and ask him to implement something, or just be honest and say, look, I'm going to have to leave site for until this is sorted to go and use
yeah,
other facilities. But again, that's not really ideal, and they should just be there.
yeah,
It's commonplace. There are also fantastic products one's called Fab Little Bag, which is like a little pouch made of recyclable material, and you can actually put products in that and then take them away with you to dispose of elsewhere. And I always carry some of them in my bag when I'm on site. And I think they're fantastic because they don't smell, they're really clean, and this sort of really does the job quite nicely. So there's
What
something
what they call, sorry, fab bags?
fab little bags.
Fab
Yeah.
little bags. Okay.
And
I'll
I
write
think
that.
they're amazing and they're so thin and you can just pop them into your bag and then sort of you're prepared either way. Um,
Yeah, yeah. So in terms of menstrual safety, what does your perfect site look like? If you're designing the ideal welfare facilities that you could include beyond the basic legal requirements, what would it look like?
Oh, that is such a fantastic question. So, like, if I was like, always like I'm going into being on The Sims.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think I'd have a super clean. Oh, everything would be really clean, and you'd have like soaps, like really nice soaps to wash your hands. I think I'd maybe have like really big toilets as well to give you that space to have 5 products to put down things like your rucksacks. I think I'd maybe have sort of like a room where people could have for their breastfeeding or for their pumping. And I'd have bins as well. People could dispose of things like their shops if they're diabetic. I'd also have sanitary disposal bins in male toilets as well. I think that's something that's often overlooked. Um, what would I also have? I'd have make sure there was no storage in there at all, because I think one of the complaints you get is women's toilets being used as storage facilities, which is so wrong. So I'd make sure that there was space to have a cleaning cupboard on on site somewhere, close to that welfare unit. Um,
yeah,
does that help?
yeah, sure, yeah, no. Why would you have them in men's toilets as well? What problems do men's have? Do men's have?
So there was a big campaign a few years ago called, I think it was called Bins for Boys or something along those lines. And actually, 1 in 20 men over the age of 60 experience bowel incontinence, and 1 in 25 men over the age of 40 experience urinary leakage at least once a year.
Right.
And so I think in things like prostate cancer, bowel cancer, I think the age for working in construction has been changed or lifted. So as people are getting older, they do need those bins to dispose of and to keep their dignity.
Yeah.
And I think especially if people are diabetic, it sort of gives them that option. They don't have to use the women's toilets or a disabled toilet. They can do it sort of in the privacy of their own toilet.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. Yeah, particularly as I wouldn't say it's a male thing. Pride is an everyone thing, isn't it? You do like you say, you do have that certain element of dignity, but particularly in a male dominated area, you know what blokes are like. Pride, macho things. The thing is, they don't really want to be talking about this sort of stuff, do they? So are they going to approach people about it?
Well, I think that's the really difficult problem. You sort of need to be vocal
Yeah,
sometimes to be understood. And I think I'm always say there's no such thing as a stupid question. And men have asked me, they said, "Look, why can't you hold in your period?" And you have to sort of say, a period is free flowing. That's why, and sort of explain it to them. And I think so many people have learned so much from sort of small conversations. And you don't have to make a massive song and dance about it. It's just sort of little comments. I think actually having the courage or to be an ally and speak up on behalf of someone else is such an important skill to have.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, do you personally, or does the organisation, you said you do talks. So you do talks with construction companies and managers, do you, about the subject?
I'll talk to anyone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do. I think I've done a few like sort of like webinars, sort of like guest speaker talks where I've gone in and spoken about sort of the experience of having a period on site,
yeah,
and sort of giving guidance of what people can do to sort of improve that for people. Um,
yeah. Do you get much resistance?
No, I think a lot of people that come willing to learn, and I
Right.
think a lot of people have wives or sisters, and
Yeah,
I think they really want to learn more about this. And I think menstrual education in the UK isn't fantastic, and I say it's not something sort of routinely spoken about. And I think a lot of people come wanting to learn and wanting to understand how they can be a better partner, a better brother, and really sort of support the women around them in their life, personal life, but also in their professional life as well.
yeah. The problem with the construction industry, I find that you get a lot of box ticking.
Yes.
Um, so do you find that people say the right things, or they make out that they're agreeing with you, but don't actually implement any actions?
I think occasionally you can get people who are not willing to do things the right way. And I
Yeah,
think that's a shame, and I think that issue sort of runs deeper than women's health. But I think ultimately sanitary disposal facilities, here they are. I think this is an instance where tick boxing has really helped women because I think if it's on a list, it's something you can tick. It's a really small change that you can make it really helps. So I don't understand why people wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And as you said, I think because it's now so clear that it is legal, it should be easily something that can be easily changed. um,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, do you think it should be part of management training?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder what is it. I mean, I don't know if it is or isn't really. To be honest, I wouldn't know. But yeah, definitely should be.
I think so. Just so people have awareness of it, if nothing else.
Yeah, yeah. Because it needs to be from the top down, doesn't it? It needs to be from the top filtered down to everyone. Um, do we? The thing is, I mean, do we risk construction sites being too comfortable? Just like in life, we don't want life to be too comfortable with everything. Do you think sometimes we should accept that there's going to be always going to be a certain amount of discomfort or a certain amount of inconvenience, or do you think that all these things should be catered for all the time across the board?
I think they should be catered for. I think where it comes to welfare, I don't think it should be classed as a luxury. I think
Yeah,
these are sort of basic essentials really, and anything above that, such as the free products or that they're sort of the nice to haves companies that are really trying to make women feel like they belong in the industry. But I think in terms of the basic essential welfare, I think that should definitely just come as standard. And um, a toilet for me wouldn't be comfortable, wouldn't be exciting if I had a sanitary disposal bin. That should just be the standard
yeah, yeah, yeah.
everywhere.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I imagine there probably are some dinosaurs out there that probably say, "Oh, come on, another woke kiss. Just get on with it." You know, what do you say to those sort of people?
Um, I just feel that's not good enough. And I think a lot of the sort of conversations I've had is that people said, you know, um, your standards are really high. Like, why can't you just settle? Why can't you just get on with it? And
Yeah,
actually, menstrual health and women's health isn't something you can just get on with. I think it is something that does need to be catered for appropriately. And I think telling someone that that's not a good way of thinking, it's not an inclusive way of thinking. It should be something we are sort of empowered to challenge among those discussions. And hopefully, there's someone it's sort of I think I've had it before where a site manager has been a little bit difficult, but I've managed to go to someone else in the team who he's closer with and sort of say, look, can you have a word with him before I take it further? Because you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And I think a short discussion can go a long way.
absolutely. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is about that communication. It's about people being open as well, open to suggestions, and having an open mind. Um, because yeah, unfortunately, it is like I say in the industry, it is kind of like get on with it, isn't it? Things are overlooked, and it's amazing, really, the difference in facilities and sites. The particular sites that I've been on, you get some sites that are just amazing. Like the facilities are really clean, um, good showers, real good facilities for people, nice big canteens, and you can really see the difference. But then you go on another job that maybe they haven't, I don't know whether they haven't got the budget or they don't have the resources or the room, and you just get little portaloos and it's all really skanky and disgusting. Um, yeah, it's just mad the vast difference there is out there. It should be sort of good across the board, like you say.
Absolutely. And I think there is this sort of stigma that toilets and sanitary disposal facilities cost a lot of money. And I think it's just one of the costs that should be factored in to that
Yeah,
project. And actually, sanitary disposal facilities don't have to cost a lot of money. I think getting them routinely emptied, I think last I checked, it was around £20 a week to have them and have one bin disposed of, which actually, in terms of construction, isn't a lot of money. And you have a duty, I think, as a principal contractor to make sure that waste is disposed of legally and correctly. So for me, it's sort of fulfilling that legal duty. And as you said, there can be that stark difference with companies that sort of put money into welfare and others that sort of scrape along with the absolute bare minimum. And I think on the sites where welfare isn't as good, it can bring down morale, and it sort of makes you not want to spend as much time on there, or in that particular site job.
Absolutely. And when you think about multi-million pound projects, it's really a drop in the ocean. It's pittance, really, isn't
Yeah,
it? To get it kitted out properly. And also, when I mean, some of the contracts that I've been on, they you've got the company card, and they're out for the team building exercise, the management. They're out for drinks of an evening or big meals and that sort of stuff. And I've known of a round cost like 350 quid. So, you can put a bin in, can't you? Surely.
absolutely. I think that is, again, it's a fantastic example of people prioritizing the wrong thing. And I
Yeah,
think if you haven't got those basics, then, I think that has to be the priority really before you do the social stuff. And
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what sort of projects or sites do you go on to do talks or webinars to then? Is it like the tier one companies?
yeah, so I've done a couple of tier one companies and then also like consultancies as well. Basically, anyone that give me the time of day. Just because I think sometimes it's nice having someone who comes in and is happy to talk about things that perhaps isn't routine or that people don't necessarily hear about every day, and sometimes could become a taboo. Because I don't think menstrual safety should be taboo.
No, no, absolutely, absolutely. Um, I would. I don't want to go on. I'd like to. We could go really deep with this, but I'd like to do another talk with you at some point, probably about the PPE and stuff. But we will do a little overlap. I would like to touch a little bit about menopause because that is all part of the menstrual thing, isn't it? Um, what issues do you have with the menopause factor?
So I think for menopause, it can be. So I've not actually gone through menopause myself, but I think from what I've heard, it can be things that changes in your body, from like your feet to from head to toe. Really, I think people have their changing feet size, they're changing hot flushes, and I think that can make things really uncomfortable. Also, I think so some of people that I know that have gone through menstrual menopause on sites, they can have very they like hardly any control on when their period comes. It's harder to track, which makes it harder to know when you're going to need extra products and things like that.
Yeah, I think it goes further than that. I mean, my wife, my lovely Mrs. Webb, she had a full hysterectomy a few years ago, so she was forced into full menopause, and I've witnessed the brain fog, memory loss, pains, all that sort of stuff. So when I think there's kind of be there has to be kind of an understanding. I wouldn't say allowance, but an understanding of what women are going through when they're particularly when they're in the high pressure roles. I don't know, you might be in a meeting, executive meeting, and you can't remember things and stuff like that. Maybe you get ridiculed in that, but I think there has to be some kind of understanding that these women are going through these things. You know, I mean, she gets so frustrated and wound up when she can't remember a word, a simple word, and I'm supposed to be a mind reader and know what that thing is. um, so there's that, and also, the hot flushes, the PPE aspect as well. What can you do about making them comfortable in the PPE wise? Because you can get hot and cold quickly, can't you?
Yes, yeah. So I think for me, what I always recommend is layering. So you can get really nice, like um, thin sort of like long high vis tops, and you can layer up, so it makes it easy to take off. In terms of like weight change and like so, even if you're menstruating, your uterus can grow and shrink. So having, I think the Leo Hawkwish trousers are elasticated, which makes it sort of they move with you, which is really good. I'm a big fan of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm assuming pregnant people use those as well, do they?
I think so. Again, that's sort of outside my area of expertise. But
Yeah.
I think things with pregnant people have improved significantly.
Right.
But again, I think the everything elasticated is great for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Um, well, we've pretty much come to a close. Is there anything else that you'd like to touch on?
I think I would just like to say, and one thing I would like to touch on is having menstrual pain as a reason for sick leave. So having that on your form, I think that works really well, and it's sort of. But I think again, women are fantastic, and and people that menstruate, I think they take everything in their stride, and I think this is something women have really tried to take in their sort of dignity for themselves through this period. But yes, I think don't settle for less and can keep going. Really, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, actually. Time off for that period. I've known of companies who have been moaning about their staff because oh, typical. Oh, I'm on my period. I need to have a day off and stuff like that. You know, what do you say to that?
I think I'd say to look at the facts, because I think the amount of women that actually take time off for their periods is very low,
Right.
and they're quite rare. I'd have to check that, but actually, if people need time off for their menstrual health, I think they should be allowed to take it.
Yeah.
Um, Absolutely. But again, that's not to say, because what I don't want to happen is people to listen to this and think they're not going to have a full work
Yeah.
load, because I think that's absolutely not the case.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
And also, you don't want people listening and saying, "Well, I'm just going to pull the old period trick now." So, let's say so nobody just comes in because they're on their period.
again, I feel like that would be very rare, because I think people, they do take it. If you have this every month, it's
Yeah.
something that you sort of manage, and but sometimes that management, it does get it's you do need to sort of take that time to sort of lie in a dark room.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think people should feel empowered to use that as sick leave if they need to. Yeah.
Do you find when you're working closely with your colleagues, your female colleagues, that your menstrual cycles line up with each other? They the timing sync?
I can't say I have, no.
No,
Yeah.
because you do hear of that, don't you?
You
That
do hear of that, yeah. No.
yeah,
Um,
I find
yeah.
that interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we're going to end on some nonsense questions now. Just a
Okay,
little bit of fun that I normally do.
great.
Um, it's nothing serious. You don't have to think too much about it. So, first question: what would you bin? Peanut butter and jam on toast, or pineapple on pizza?
Pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, you like the old peanut butter and jam, yeah?
I
I
do,
do.
yeah.
um, hiking in the snow or reading on the beach?
Ooh. Probably reading on a beach. I do like a good hike in the snow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like to go outside, yeah.
Oh, you'd been the beach one, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, cool. What's the most unusual thing you found whilst doing soil sampling or ground investigation work?
The most unusual thing, a shopping trolley. Yeah, that was
Really?
yeah, that was sort of buried in some ground, yeah.
Wow, blimey, that's good. So that must have been like a backfill, wasn't it? A
Yeah,
backfill job? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. What superpower would be most useful for an engineering geologist?
Time traveling to go back and see what was happening in
I'd
the
love
ground.
that. I'd love that. Yeah, I
I
thought,
always
yeah,
say, I wish the rocks could talk to me, but
yeah,
tell me
yeah,
what happened to them. Yeah.
yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. If you could make one construction tool sentient for a day, which would you choose, and what would you ask it?
I'm sorry, what was the first part of that question?
A
Sorry.
construction tool, a tool that you use, or anything like that.
Tool that I use. Oh, that is such a great question. Um, Probably something that I could. Oh, I don't know. Maybe like better pens for my my notebook, because the ones I have are rubbish.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Well, we know that you like to talk to rocks, so I know
yeah.
that you'd like to have them being sent in and have that ability. But tools, there's a tricky one, isn't it? Um, uni. What's the most controversial thing you did at uni?
Oh, I don't know. I was quite good at uni. I don't know.
Was you?
Yeah.
You never went wild or
Oh,
anything?
I went on nights out, but what I probably did is, like, I used to like go straight from like the library to my friend's house for prees, and then so maybe that, I don't know. That's really boring, isn't it? Um,
A little bit.
yeah, I didn't really do anything wild.
You're no fun.
I know.
Okay, last one. How do you challenge yourself?
That is such a great question. I like to set myself really impossible goals and try and see as far as I can get with them.
Oh, really? What was the
Yeah.
last one? What was the last one you set?
The last one I set was to try and do a marathon, which it seemed like a lot of time because like having the time to actually put into that training
Right.
is really hard, I think, and to make time for yourself with that exercise.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
managed to get into a good half marathon, and so I carry on. But I think I never really sort of gave myself longer than that 2 hour chunk on a Sunday to make longer runs.
So have you given up on that now then?
No, not giving up. I'm still going to still trying. I'm doing the Chester Zoo 10K next week, which I'm really
Okay,
excited for.
okay. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, what's the time now? You've got a few hours now to do some after this.
I should get my running shoes on. Yeah.
Right, finish off then. Where can people find you, Charity? How can they contact you if they need to, if they have any concerns, or how do they contact Boulders Brass? Just LinkedIn, is it?
LinkedIn is the best way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. No other social with Instagram or anything like that?
Not professionally, no.
No, fair enough. Brilliant. Well, you're doing a great thing. So's the organisation, and or maybe I can get someone else on with you next time for a PPE topic.
Yes, we've got some fantastic PPE gurus in Boulders Brass, so I will pass you some names. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk about that as well?
I'm happy to talk about PPE. Yes.
You talk about anything. You love
No.
it, don't you? Love it. Right. Well, that's great. Thanks for your time, Charity. Really appreciate it. I think we've covered some important topics that hopefully people listen to this, get something out of it, even if it's just one person. That'll be useful. We'll promote this as much as possible. I'll put it on LinkedIn, and if you share, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me.
No problem at all. It's a pleasure. Have a good afternoon. Yeah. Take
Thank
care.
you very much. You too.